Right.
Okay. I will call the July 17th Porter Public Schools Board of Education meeting to order. Roll call. I guess I will take the roll call.
Right.
Kathy.
Here.
Leo.
Here.
I am here, and Carrie and Ben are absent as of now. All right. Consider approval of agenda.
So moved.
Second.
I had one question.
Yep.
Number 13, establish future board meetings. The dates are wrong.
Are they wrong?
You're-
Oh,
You
good.
must have looked at 2018 or something.
I did.
Well, it
Oh.
says 2018 on there.
Yeah.
I have Wednesday, August 14th, and Wednesday, September 11th
Yep.
for the dates.
Yeah.
And we'd actually, I think if you look in the minutes,
Yeah.
we'd actually changed that September one to the following week.
Okay.
I swore I
Yeah.
changed that, but
To
it
the
could have been on a
21st?
different copy.
Yeah. Yep.
So,
And so, yeah,
21st.
I know it's not
no,
going to be the 21st.
18th it would be.
18th.
18th, yeah.
Yep.
September 18th.
Oh, in
Yep.
September you're talking
Yep.
about, okay.
I'd ask the board to do that. Give me.
So the 14th and the 18th.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay.
And I think that was it. All right, with those corrections, there was a motion.
Yep. I
Motion
made-
and a
I made the
second?
motion.
All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Motion carried. Next item on the agenda is President's Report. We have 2 members absent this month. Next board meeting would be August 14th.
I may ask the board to consider a special session right about the beginning of August to deal with some hires and resignations. And we did receive one more resignation today. And I'll cover that in my I'll add that to my administrator's report. But with that, just to cover some of those items, because we also have some hiring going on and we want to get those things taken care of. So I might just ask for, like I said, one of those, a special session to deal just with hiring and
Right, the
staff.
end of July.
Yeah, end of July, beginning of August.
Okay.
Yep,
Just give me as much notice for that as you possibly can.
will do.
Okay. And I guess we covered the board meetings. So number 3, administrative reports.
As I did just mention, we did, this is just an addition here into my report. We did receive a resignation today from Jean Stelcheck. She is taking a position as the library coordinator for the Marshfield School District. She'll be coordinating all of the libraries in their school district.
Wow.
So she's very excited about that. And we're now in the process of looking for a district coordinator for our libraries and a band director. So, but I'll move on to the rest of my report now.
Any possibility that
We've got some ideas.
Any of these new music people might be able to overflow into
Possibly. We've got a couple ideas that way.
Okay.
Yep. End of the year budget. So last month, we did ask you to approve the possibility that we were going to actually be over budget. We were trying to put some of the end of the year numbers together. It is very difficult to get some of those end of the year numbers. At the board meeting time, a couple weeks into June, and we still have bills coming in from other districts for open enrollment and special education and bills to pay out. Well, here's the good news. We didn't have to spend any of that.
Hot dog.
Not a dime of it. In fact, we ended the year with an actual deficit of just approximately $271,000. I'll say approximately. There's just a couple of final items to get taken care of. Auditors were in the last 3 days, so we know that's pretty tight, right about that number. That will actually be $33,000 less than we had predicted at the beginning, or when we had passed the budget. We had predicted a $304,000 deficit. It will be a $271 approximately $1,000 deficit. An interesting piece, food service ended up with a surplus on the good side of their balance sheet. But that's good for them in the sense that they do need to make some improvements on equipment and those items, and they can use that surplus to do that. potentially looking at a new dishwasher in this building, and other equipment upgrades as they go along. They've been working on some of those upgrades over the last couple of years, and like a lot of things, some of that kitchen equipment probably goes back to when these buildings were built.
Which was about the same time that they were watching Apollo 11 go to the moon.
Yes, right about that same time, right about 50 years ago.
That would be it.
So, just looking forward on that end of the year budget, looking forward this year. We're looking with the state budget passage and the line item vetoes and all of those things. We're going to look at about $200,000 in additional revenue authority. That'll be revenue limit authority, so that's going to either be one of two things. That's going to be equalized aid, or it's going to be tax, direct tax. But it'll be an additional $200,000 approximately in revenue authority on that end, and then an additional right around $40,000 in per pupil aid. So about $240,000 in additional revenue that when we had done our modeling last year, we weren't necessarily anticipating. That'll fill some of the deficit, but at the same time, we're still predicting out a deficit. So with that, with the referendum passage, that'll put us on solid footing. We can start taking care of some of the items, and I'll give you a few for instances. Summer building project updates. The new electrical connection to the elementary, which we were not anticipating doing. That work is actually mostly complete. We were hoping to get it done by this Friday, but Alliant Energy isn't able to do their final connections. So it is going to be delayed, could be delayed a couple of weeks yet before we do the final connections. But Alliant Energy had to run a new transformer and power to the building here. Normally, we're considered like a commercial customer. Normally, they'd charge a commercial customer for the transformer and running the lines. But due to the age of the facility and how the facility was set up, it was one that probably should have been replaced many years ago and was not. And so there is no charge from Alliant. However, we do have to have Econ. We're using Econ as our contractor to do the work on putting in the panels. There's got to be a new outside panel. There's got to be a new meter. The lines are coming into different places in the building. They are different lines than what were originally run. So there is quite a bit of work that Econ was coordinating, including there had to be cement pad poured, conduit run underground. So all kinds of things that we did not necessarily anticipate. Just to get this new power, to be about a $30,000 project when it's all said and done. We also have a drainage. We've been working on a couple of drainage issues yet over at the middle school, high school. We had some storm drains back up that we had in some of the storms we had in June. And so in tracking some of those issues down and trying to deal with some of those, we think we've got some of them solved, but one that came to light was there is an overflow outside of our building at the high school at the corner of 3rd and Latender. That overflow, with the amount of water we've had, and considering there are other drains backing up, that overflow should be running hard when it rains hard, and it is not. So, did a little investigating. We scoped that with the camera, found out that the drain line is broken. So the water is going somewhere else. Some of it's backing up, and others maybe, we're not sure if we've got some undermining going on as well. That is on the 3rd and Latender side, so we actually have to dig. There's a little plot of grass there. It's kind of where the school marquee is.
Yeah.
It's right in that location. We're gonna have to dig that out and replace some drain line in there. We're hoping to get that project started on Monday. This is kind of one of those emergency, like we just got to get it done.
Is that something our staff can do, or?
No, this is bringing a backhoe and dig. We're digging down to the drain. These are the drains that run to the storm sewer.
Into the village storm sewers.
Yes,
Okay.
so we're digging.
All right.
So hopefully we don't have to dig under sidewalk or any of that, and hopefully we don't have to dig under our building. We're hoping it's contained right in that plot.
You said Third and Latender?
Do I mean
Yeah.
Third and Levine? I'm
Yeah,
sorry,
okay.
Third and Levine.
So it's
I
right where they
started
put
thinking
that
of
new garden.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah, yep. Where they're working on the new garden.
Yeah,
We're
so
gonna have to
they
dig in there.
stopped
Yep,
that.
unfortunately. I'm sorry. I apologize for the. I always ask Lisa too. I say, which street is that again?
Yeah.
I knew what you meant.
That we
Yeah.
have a way out there?
The property we thought we had.
A few other summer projects we've been working on. The HVAC system, we are putting a univent up on third floor. This is a univent we actually saved from some that we swapped out. It's actually a newer model, but when we did some swapping, if you remember on the energy efficiency, we had upgraded a couple to AC units. Well, this is a newer unit, and so we didn't want to get rid of it, so we're actually swapping out an older unit. It's used, but it's our use. So we're doing that yet this summer, and they're working on that, as well as we just had a chemical feeder system installed into the elementary cooling system, so that we can get the water pHs all balanced correctly. We'll also be adding some pressure controls into the middle school, high school system to deal with water pressures over there. Mr. Lau is currently working on video camera install that goes along with the security and safety grant that we received. We've got a lot of other projects, smaller projects, replacing some shades in some classrooms that need shades replaced. Carpet in 2 classrooms that we're looking at getting replaced. Lighting in the high school kitchen. That lighting was removed. It was actually rusting. It's sealed light. It's got to be sealed lighting in there. And we had some of it was actually rusting out. Again, we're talking original lighting in a kitchen space that, you know, all the humidity, the dampness of cooking.
Sure.
So some of this lighting needed to get replaced. We're still looking at getting the concrete work done on the south side of the building near the shop and band room over at the high school, as well as here. We're working yet to potentially get our driveways sealed and painted here at this building. It is due, as well as doing some tree removal in some various places where we've got trees in our Little Hawks classroom, our school forest, and a couple other places that just, they're dead or dying and need to be removed. So we got quite a bit of work yet. And those are some of our summer projects, along with our school van was one of our summer items we were going to try to get taken care of. Well, the day the quotes were due was also the day that they quit taking orders for 2019 models. And so rather than the dealerships telling us, oh, by the way, your bids are due on the day that you can't order these anymore. So we are waiting on, we did only receive one bid. We sent notices to 4 different dealerships in the area. We received one bid. It was right in line with what we had worked on last year in looking at that. But now we have to wait for the switch over to the new model because these are production models, meaning they have to make them. When you buy a 10-passenger van, it comes direct from the factory made. So we were waiting on that, and even with that, we're probably talking, if we can get that sewed up in the next couple of weeks, we're probably still talking January 1-ish
16
as
to
a
18
delivery,
weeks to
as a delivery date. You know, we're talking December, maybe January, you know, by the time that's all said and done.
Are you considering rebidding it? Or
Well,
using the bid
we
you
will.
have?
We will probably. We called the local dealer. They had no interest in bidding it.
Really?
The dealerships, on the way these are priced and with the government fleet rate,
Well, yeah.
there
They're
is
not making anything.
there is zero markup. I mean, you're getting sold the van at pretty much at cost, with very little markup.
I
So
figure they would want the
name on the back end of the
name
vehicle.
on the van and
Yeah.
the idea of, here, we bought this locally, but
They
They
apparently
did not
not.
bid for Wisconsin Rapids
Yep.
either,
Yep. So
Really?
yeah,
Sorry to
we're
hear that.
yep.
so.
So that's kind of where we're at with that. So
Okay.
that is the bulk of my report this evening.
All right, thank you. Moving on to item number 4, questions and comments from people in attendance.
Big crowd.
Anyone that wishes to speak? No?
Hi,
You can
Chair.
sign it. Okay. All right, we'll move on to consent agenda. Number 5, consider approval of minutes of the past meeting. I do have one question on that too. Was the golf vote unanimous? I didn't think it was, but it says it is in the
Oh,
meeting.
thank you, John. You're right, it
It
wasn't.
was
It
4.
was one nay.
There was one name.
There was a name.
Yeah.
I'll make an edit to that. So then do we reapprove them next month?
No, you can
You can
correct
still
it. You can,
correct
it.
you can make
Correct
the
it?
correction.
Okay.
Yeah, with that correction, I'll seek a motion to approve of the minutes.
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Number 6, consider approval of financial reports. Any gifts this month?
No gifts. I just have one budget revision that was made to move funds from Fund 10 to 27 to cover the cost of the Nakusa School District special ed costs.
Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
A motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion is approved. Number 7, second reading of policy updates as previously presented. Do we have any?
So I
Any
do go back and I make any of the changes that are requested in that first. It was really just some selection of some language, so that's all been added. Since these are pretty well canned policies from our policy service.
I will make a motion to approve the policy updates.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. New business. Number 8, consider approval of the declaration and parent notice of district student academic standards.
A few years ago, the state of Wisconsin required that school boards annually approve this notice. It's one of the few notices that we put out that has to come for a school board approval. These are the standards we've generally used. However, please note that we would be, as the state of Wisconsin has made some updates to social studies, we'll be moving forward and adopting the new standards and working to put those into our curriculum. And that's a process that doesn't happen overnight, but as we go through the curriculum process the next couple of years, we will work to implement those. And beyond that, and you'll notice it's not every content area.
Right.
This is the statutory requirement that we cover these content areas. And this is what the notice has to cover. So the reading, writing, science, geography, history, those items. So math. So I ask for your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Number 9, consider approval of 2018-2019 teaching contract.
Kara and I would recommend your approval of Jeffrey Erdman as a teacher, primarily in elementary music, but with also 5th grade band duties and duties teaching our rotation class in the middle school choices.
Is he local?
No, not necessarily.
Okay.
I believe he's maybe originally from like I don't want to say
Okay.
on the top of my head. He did teach for a year up in the Chequamegon, Park Falls area,
Okay.
up in that area.
So he's moving here?
Yep.
He's band certified?
He has some instrumental qualifications in his background. He has done orchestra, not necessarily band, but so.
Okay.
I move for his approval.
Second it.
A motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried. Number 10, consider approval of 2019-2020 property liability linebacker, cyber solutions, crime, inland marine, automobile, umbrella, and workers' compensation insurance plans.
We would ask for your approval of these. We did have some rate increases on some of them, such as property went up $18.59, liability $20, crime $4, inland marine stayed at $0. Everybody always asks what inland marine is. That's the transporting of goods inland. So automobile, there was an increase of $163. Here's the good news. Workers' comp down 2,486. We did have linebacker and umbrella increased a bit, and cyber solutions stayed at the same. The total, I believe we had a total reduction of $191. So overall, our total insurance package for those products is down, but a few of the items went up. I would note an item we are probably going to bring you next month with with insurance. So we would ask you to approve this tonight. An item that we're going to look at is bringing you social engineering and what is the name of that? Social engineering and fraudulent impersonation. So our cyber only covers data breaches. If you watched the news or heard what happened at a neighboring school district just to the north of us, our insurance doesn't cover that.
It needs to cover that.
So we would have to buy an additional policy, and we are looking at that, may bring that to you, considering that school districts have been the target of some fraudulent activities.
Just as a piece of information, our vendor here is who?
EMC.
MC. How long has it been since we've shopped or bid the general coverages?
There aren't many people that do this kind of coverage.
Okay.
We have gone through a major walkthrough with EMC this year, and we're still working on pieces of that.
Okay.
So.
I mean, I'm not suggesting that this is an inappropriate quote.
No.
I'm curious.
And that's something we can look at down the road, is figuring out what other companies. EMC is really one of the prime providers of insurance to school districts in the state, but there may be some other options,
Okay.
and we can certainly look at those.
Come another year.
Yeah.
to
Yep.
See
Yep.
what was out there.
But we are going to look. The one thing we are going to look at, though, is adding that next level of coverage
Okay.
to social engineering and, again, what did I say that was?
Fraudulent impersonation.
So, and it is actually social engineering is what it's really called, which is an odd term. I find that being an odd term, but that's what happened up in that district up there. So, which caused them to have to pay out a sum of money. So,
Yeah.
we're going to look at
We
getting
need
that coverage on
yeah,
board.
we need
So,
that coverage.
Okay.
All right. Is there a motion to approve those various plans?
So move.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. Number 11, consider approval of CLA to provide audit service.
this is just, so previously, the last couple of years, our audit's been covered by Shank. There was a merger, and CLA is the new company, and so this just simply approves our ability to continue on with those auditing services through that auditor. And they've just literally today finished the on-site audit, so Lisa is very happy about that.
Because they look over all your stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Your turn.
So moved.
Second.
Consider.
Motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
It's actually the same exact auditors.
Yeah.
They're just a different name.
Just a different name.
Number 12, opportunity for individual board member comment. Kathy?
I was at Kids from Wisconsin on Monday night. I know Leo was there too. What an
Yeah,
awesome
very
show.
Yep.
Megan Shields, we are very proud of her, that she's a Port Edward student, so that was wonderful. And I just want to remind the public that the Port Fun Fest Monarch Festival is coming up in August 9th and 10th. So hope we have a good crowd there.
All right, Leo.
While I sent an email to the district, I'd like to publicly thank the administration here for the cooperation that the Village of Port Edwards Police and Fire Commission received from the school district. We tested candidates for entry-level police officers using a classroom and the track area on Monday, the 8th of July. Had good candidates, everything went famously. We are very appreciative and, you know, your cooperation was most helpful in getting this done, and we really want to publicly recognize that.
Thank you.
All right, and I guess I don't have anything. Summertime.
Yes.
Hope everybody's having a
Yes.
good summer.
Yes.
So, moving on, establish future board meetings. We said August 14th and September 18th.
18th,
Yes.
We will-
with a possible special meeting in
Yeah,
a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
All right. Moving on to item 14, consideration of motion to adjourn into closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.851C for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. And 19.851E for the purpose of deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session.
So moved.
Second?
Motion and a second to adjourn in closed session. All those in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carried.
We are in
Closed session.